Hi guys, and welcome to this episode of the Happy Knitting Podcast. My name is Julia and I'm coming to you from the UK. Today is Thursday, the 23rd of November 2023. I am once again attempting a sort of vloggy series, and I still hate the word vlog, to record a couple of yarny snippets throughout the next couple of days and then upload it to the weekend, because I know a lot of you enjoy the format and I'm still not sure what works best for me, because on one hand it's easier for me to just sit down in one go and just record the whole thing and finish it off. On the other hand, if I do go through the effort of putting little videos together, it then obviously takes much less time on the weekend to actually record. So yeah, I'm still trying it out. If you're new to the channel, then welcome. I really hope you enjoy it. This is mainly going to be about knitting and crocheting, and I assume these sort of video snippet series might be a bit more informal, which I know some of you enjoy. I always find it hard because I don't want to put too much sort of personal stuff on the internet, but I also know that that's a lot what a lot of people do like. So we'll see how we go. But today's Thursday. It's been a day. My son woke up feeling quite poorly. Nothing serious, but just he's definitely not going to nursery. Both myself and my husband worked, and in a way I think I was quite lucky because today is US Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving to all the US folks. And since my husband mostly works with US colleagues, it was quite an easy day for him. So together we've managed to struggle through work with a 3-year-old. And now we have ordered Chinese. It's on the way. I've finished work. My husband's in the garden with the toddler, who is luckily feeling better now. So I thought I'd take a quick second to show you what has arrived, because I am working on a secret project. I said I was not making any Christmas presents or any more Christmas presents. If you don't know, and if you're my sisters, please stop watching. But if you're not my sisters, you can keep watching. Earlier this year, I made some sort of cotton face cloths. I made some for myself and I really, really like them. I'm using them all the time. So I made some as gifts, and I said I wasn't going to make any more Christmas gifts in terms of knitting, because if you remember last year I made a bunch of hats, one of which my toddler then attacked with kitchen scissors, so no more. I've made sweaters in the past, I've gifted lots of socks, but yeah, this year no more knitted gifts, except, sorry, this bottle here is really annoying me, I'm gonna block it with my arm. I decided I want to make a nice scarf for my husband, because he's the only person whose Christmas gift I haven't had sorted. And I decided to make the No Pearl scarf by Pearl Soho. And the yarn arrived yesterday, so this is what I have so far. It's not very much, but I can only work on this when he's not around, and he works from home. Essentially he goes out to jiu-jitsu 3 times a week. So those 3 evenings basically are when I need to crank out the scarf. But again, I have a toddler. I need to put him to bed and do stuff. So I think the hardest part for this will be to find the time to actually work on this so he doesn't see it. But yeah, it's a pattern by Pearl Soho. It looks like a rib, but essentially there's no purling in it, so it's a combination of slipping stitches and knitting stitches, which is really fun. It's my first time doing it. I don't mind knitting rib, but the texture you get with the slip stitches is really chunky and squishy, and I really like it. And the yarn that I'm using for this is Drops Big Merino, which I haven't used before. I've used their regular superwash merino years ago, and more recently, I think last year or the beginning of this year, I made my son a blanket out of this yarn, but in the thinner version, which in hindsight I should have used this. This is lovely. I'm really enjoying it. Drops is a bit debatable, I will be honest, so I try to not rely on the yarns too much, but for this I know my husband wants something really soft. He doesn't want any itch factor. And I looked at a couple of different options. I also didn't want to break the bank, and this seemed like the best way to go. I think this yarn tends to grow, so I'm making quite a skinny scarf, which is what he likes. And then I'm sure it'll grow and I can block it out a bit. And yeah, this is their charcoal color, which is color 03. And I have 5 ball of this. I'm just winging it. But I think 5 balls should be enough. Again, this doesn't have to be a huge scarf. But I knit him a scarf years and years and years ago. Like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years ago. And he loves it. He's been wearing that scarf. It's like a knit pearl textured scarf. That was really annoying to knit because it's got like knit pearl chevrons. I don't remember the name. You'll probably find it somewhere way down in my Ravelry pages if you're wanting to look. It was really annoying to knit, but he loves it. So I'm hoping this one will sort of fill a similar need. And then he'll have 2 scarves. And yeah, the color isn't very exciting, but I think this will be really good for him. And he can even wear it to the office or something if he wants. Like, it'll go with everything because it's a black scarf. Yeah. So I wanted to show you that really quickly and then show you a bit of another acquisition as well. And the light is going very quickly, I am aware. But remember my crochet obsession. I'm still obsessed, if you don't know, with the crochet blanket patterns by Attic24, who is Lucy. I've made her fireside blanket. I am close to finishing her dahlia blanket, which I'll maybe show you later in this episode. And she is doing a annual crochet along, which I have never participated in. I have never done any crochet along because I'm still quite new to, like, quote unquote serious crochet. But I couldn't resist. So she comes up with yarn packs for her patterns. Her patterns are free, which is great. The patterns usually use Stylecraft DK from Wool Warehouse. So, excuse the reach. I couldn't help myself. I got myself the kit for the 2024 crochet along, which I think starts on the 5th of January. And I think this could be really, really fun because, again, I love crocheting blankets, but sometimes it's hard with these massive projects to not feel overwhelmed. But I'm thinking if I have, a whole group of crocheters working along, this should be quite easy for me to follow. I'm hoping at least. And look at the colors. So this is going to be the pattern. It's a stripe, sort of lacy, apparently it's a 2-row repeat. So I think it's not too difficult. It's a bit more exciting than just like a granny stitch, but it doesn't look super, super intense. And I like stripy blankets. There's a group that's also doing I think, is it the Harmony blanket, which is like fancier, colorful squares, and that also looks amazing. But I think after Christmas, I'll need the simplicity of this. So yeah, I've got the yarn, I've got the pattern. The pattern is free. It's going to be released, I think, every week. I haven't looked into it too much. And this is the yarns by Stylecraft Specialty K, which I am really coming to enjoy. And I mentioned last week that I am battling this really annoying rash. And I've been working on my crochet blanket out of this acrylic yarn. And I know I was against acrylic yarns, and I still am in a lot of ways. But it works so well for blankets in terms of, these blankets will stay around for a long time, which isn't always what you want, but with a lovely blanket, it is what I want. And it is so soft, and this doesn't upset my skin. So, I love my woolly wools, but yeah. Anyways, this is what I'm using. I got the blanket pack. It arrived ridiculously quickly. I think I ordered it the day it came out, and it was here the next day. So yeah, massive order from Wool Warehouse. And I've ordered this crochet hook from Prim. This is one of the ergonomic ones. Should I take it out? Let's take it out. I have tried different crochet hooks. I do like the tulip crochet hooks, and my favorite is the cheap Knit Pro. Is it Knit Pro Waves? It's the one that comes with a colorful handle, a different color for each size, and a metal tip. And they're really simple. I really enjoy them. They're probably my favorite. But I thought I might try these. So these are by Prim, and this one looks much fancier than the ones I usually use. I always use a 4mm hook, so that's what I got. I know Addy also have similar ones, which I think a lot of people like, but they are quite pricey. Give me your feedback if you are a crocheter. But yeah, so I got this to go along with my blanket pack, and I have another blanket that I want to make. I have so many blankets. I have one that I might actually start before I start this one, because my dahlia is pretty close to being finished. And I need to then, of course, like when you finish a blanket, you have to start a new blanket. So I'm not sure. Maybe I'll keep this for the Sun Gold crochet along. Maybe I'll use it for the next blanket that I'll start. I'm not going to change crochet hooks mid-blanket because that just seems like a bad idea. So yeah, there you go. I have to hide this from my son because he's obsessed with crochet hooks. He loves to use them to fix his cars. Yeah, so he keeps like asking to borrow my crochet hooks from my actual like work in progress, which is really annoying. So I'm gonna hide this one, and yeah. Alright guys, it is getting dark. I will hopefully catch up with you in either a couple of days maybe. I hope by then I'll have a less poorly sun. And yeah, I want to do all the knitting. So that's what I'm going to do tonight if my son lets me. Fingers crossed. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi guys, it is now Friday the 24th. And what a Friday it has been. I'll get into the knitting in a second, but yeah, I mentioned yesterday that my son was quite poorly and he got worse before he got better, so last night was very stressful. Yeah, it wasn't great, and I am as tired as I look, which I know. Honestly, having a sick kid is just so exhausting, and then I think the fact that, we both worked around that yesterday. My work has been really busy as well, and yeah, it's just been a lot. I am absolutely at the end of my nerves, which is why I've chosen and luckily been able to now take a moment off kiddo duty to just breathe. Luckily, my husband could finish work early. So I've come out here into our conservatory / dining room, so you can see our garden behind me. You can see our beautiful fig tree. We actually had figs, which is amazing. I'm still in all of my woolies because it's been quite chilly. And yeah, so have I been knitting? I have made quite a lot of progress on my husband's scarf, but I couldn't smuggle it out here to show you. But I'll show you maybe tomorrow. It is a lot longer now, which is good. And I also brought 2 other projects to show you. So this is my son's rainbow sweater. I talked about this in detail on my last episode. So if you haven't seen that and you want to know more about it, go back and look at that. Essentially, it's the fingering weight flax sweater by Tin Can Knits. I'm not doing the garter ridges, I'm not doing the short rows, and I'm using an assortment of lovely woolly non-superwash fingering yarn that my friend Mel sent to me. This burgundy I actually used myself years and years ago, and then sent what I had left over to her, and now it's come back into the sweater, which I just love that. And yeah, this orange is truly fluorescent neon orange, and it's not picking up on camera, which makes the whole color scheme sort of look very different. I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do about it. This is the only camera I have, but imagine this to be a very, very bright orange. And yeah, so as you can tell, I've made quite a bit of progress. Last time we chatted, I was in the yellow section, so I finished the yellow stripe, finished the green stripe, and I'm now on the blue, which I think this one feels quite different to all the others. I think this may be whole super soft, whereas I think most of the other ones were either Woolly Knit or Jameson Smith, both of which are Norwegian wool, British wools. Yeah, so I've made some progress. Once I finish the stripe, I only have the purple to go, and then I can do the sleeves. And I think lengthwise it should work out quite well. I did do the maths before I started on the striping. So I'm doing 20 rows of each color. And yeah, should be quite cute, I think. Have I worked on this massively? No, but yeah, I am making progress, and this should be done quite soon. I really just need to sit down and work on it. Maybe I'll do that today. But I've also brought out another project, which you've seen this many times, but I did want to show it again because it is so pretty. Look at my dahlia blanket, and I am ripping out all of my progress while showing it to you. But look how big it is now. Ignore the random end where I cut the yarn on the wrong side, because I thought I was ready to join the new yarn, but no, I had to do another row, so I cut the yarn, but I have attached it and woven in the end. But look, isn't it amazing? I need to be careful not to melt it over my candle over there, but I did want to show it to you. I love it. I love this so much. And last time I showed it to you, I think I was just starting into these like light turquoisey bits. So as you can tell, I'm now more into the turquoise. And depending on how big I make this could be my second to last color. So I have this one, and then I'm going to fade into this. This is Sage, and this one is Storm Blue. All of these are Stylecraft DK, what's it called? Special DK. And then I could be done. It just sort of depends on how big I want it. If I do want to keep going, I could then sort of fade back into the lighter blues. I could do sort of this, and then theoretically I could fade into the purple. Do I want to do that though? What do you think? I mean, probably I should, because bigger is better, but I don't know, I'm also kind of done with this, so I haven't decided yet. I'm going to keep going at least until I've reached this color, and then I don't know. I mean, it is pretty. Maybe I should keep going. Let me know what you think. And what I've noticed yesterday while working on it is that if you look at just, sort of this part, it looks like, this is the sea, and then it fades into like the beach and sand. Like it looks like a seaside blanket, which wasn't the plan, but how many more times can I tell you I love this? So again, to reiterate, this is the Dahlia blanket by Attic24. It's a free pattern, and I am using the Dune colorway pack by, well, it's for the Dune blanket, but I'm using it for this blanket obviously, and I've just sort of mixed around the colors a bit, but it is the Dune pack, which you can buy on Woo Warehouse. And I sound like I'm sponsored. I am not. I am spending all of my own money on this stuff, but this is making me very, very happy. And this is why, really, after recording this, I just want to be working on this. I don't want to be working on my son's sweater. I'm just obsessed with crochet at the moment. I'm obsessed with crochet blankets, and I don't know about you guys, but seeing the blankets sort of come together, it just makes me so happy. I've just realized I've got in my massive basket of everything, I've got this in here as well. Last night I actually split full the sleeves of my Sunday cardigan. So I have done like 2 rows of the body. But yeah, somehow this yoke, even though it is on chunky yarn, this has taken me ages. I think it's just the yarn is so chunky and the needles are so big that it makes it a bit awkward. And yes, I am in the middle of a row. It just makes it awkward to knit. I'm using 5mm needles, but it just feels clunky. And then especially with the yoke, which is a knit pearl texture, or it's a rib. It's just really slow, but I'm hoping now, it's a cardigan, I'm not sticking it, so I have to do the pearl rows, but I'm hoping it'll be a bit quicker, and obviously now there are less stitches on the needles as well. So yeah, from this it should be smooth sailing, just some stockinette. So I need to power through this because I really want the finished garment. I think this for me is definitely a product knit. I'm usually a process knitter, but for this I just want this cardigan to have for my office. So yeah, that is my knitting and crochet that I've brought out to show you. In a second, I'm going to just sit and crochet for a little bit while I enjoy my 4th coffee of the day. I've also decided not to cook tonight. We're just going to have Chinese leftovers because again, I am exhausted. I need to knit and sit and deal with a sick and grumpy kiddo. So yeah, just making life as easy as possible. This morning we did some Christmas decoration. It's the first I've done this year. I haven't really, and I still don't feel Christmassy. But everyone around us, on our street, in our neighborhood, everyone is going all out with the Christmas decorations. Like all the houses are lit up and massively decorated. I've not seen it that way before. Obviously, this is our first Christmas in this house, in this street, in this neighborhood. And my son has been so obsessed with it. So we got some window stickers, and for our front facing window, we've decorated it all this morning, which was quite cute, and it was fun. And we listened to some Christmas music for a second, my first sort of Christmas music for this season, before my son insisted to switching it to Postman Pat. There you go. Also, what I didn't tell you is that last week after recording, I think I recorded on the Sunday, possibly, doesn't matter, Sunday night, I fell down the stairs. All this stuff always happens when my husband isn't around. So yesterday my husband was out and my son had his fever spike and I was freaking out. Last Sunday he was out and I actually went upstairs with my son to check on some yarn for my husband's scarf, which, as you know now, I have now ordered I had ordered the Drops Merino to knit the scarf. But I wanted to check what I had in stash. So I went upstairs with my son, went downstairs again, turned around and fell down 3/4 of our stairs. Wasn't great. Wasn't great to do that when my husband wasn't at home either. So I had to, get over it and also make sure my son didn't do anything stupid. But luckily, this time around I wasn't carrying him, because you may remember I've once fallen down the stairs with him. That wasn't great. Also, I didn't hurt my hands. I sort of hurt my elbow quite badly, and I was very sore for a couple of days, which is why I've been working from home this week, but nothing serious. And now my son is coming in, so I will stop recording and see you guys soon. It's now Saturday. It's Saturday noon, and I am recording once again in a different spot. I am recording in my husband's office because I'm basically just staying wherever we have central heating, which is everywhere except for my loft office / craft room. Sorry if you can actually hear the heating kick in right now. But yeah, I just thought I'd quickly sit down and show you a couple of more works in progress that I've been working on. I'm also wearing my Saltburn sweater, which was a finished object I think 2 weeks ago. This was a test knit for the Knit Pearl Girl, who is Sophie Hemmings. A couple of people have reached out because they couldn't find the pattern, and that's because it's not out yet. It will be published in the end of December, I think around Christmas. If I remember, I will let you know, but otherwise just maybe follow the Knit Pearl Girl and keep an eye out for the Saltburn sweater. I really enjoyed it, as you can tell. I think it fits really, really well. It's a top-down yoke with a folded over collar. I used Holzgarn Super Soft held double, which I've talked about this many times. This is so cozy. Today has been such a cold day. I think it was -1 this morning when we went out and I went to the park with my son. And this has kept me with a coat, but still, I don't have a very warm coat either. And this has kept me nice and toasty. So yeah, that's my Saltburn sweater. And in terms of what I wanted to show you, I wanted to quickly run through my knitting whips with you guys. I've actually written a list, not for the podcast, but just because I feel like at the moment I'm sort of losing tracks of all of my works in progress. And I've just realized I've forgotten another one that needs to be on the list. Which is my Stephen West shawl, which I haven't shown you, but I did show it to you last week, so you can just go back. But yeah, to quickly run through what I have to finish, and there's a lot of whips on there. I can count 9, although 3 of them I have sort of noted as non-important, non-urgent / hibernating. But I have 6 whips and I wrote them all down. I have them all in my Ravelry, but sometimes I just sort of lose track and I need like a visual list to work out what I want to focus on, because at the moment I'm just feeling a bit lost. I'm crafting all over the place and I would like to have a bit of order in what I'm doing, and then maybe I can actually finish things, because I feel like it's been a while since I actually finished anything. So on my whip list of things that I would actually like to finish, the toddler sweater, the rainbow flags, I reckon that's about 70% done, and I think maybe I should focus on that today, because I think if I just sit down and do some proper focus knitting and, I stop scrolling on my phone, I could get that done pretty quickly, and then that would just be off the needles. It'll be easy, and yeah, I think that'll be my first priority. Second, I have the Sunday cardigan, which I showed you yesterday, and I have since put on maybe 8 centimeters on the body. So I reckon that's also about 70% done. It is quite slow. I'm gonna say it. I think the yarn, which is quite chunky, is making me knit very slowly. So I'm not enjoying that as much as I thought I would. But yeah, again, I want to wear that. So that's why it's on the urgent sort of list and needs to be finished. And then next up, my Christmas socks. Do you remember these? These are my Bird Street Yarns Christmas socks. The colorway is Christmas 1974. And did I drop the second one? Yes, I have casted on the second one during a meeting on Thursday. I think I have to do 2 more rows of the rib, and then I just need to zip down the sock, really. Again, priority. These, I should just work on them a little bit, and I think if I actually sit down, these would get finished rather quickly. I'm not sure what's holding me up on these. And this also sort of leads into my maybe projects of things I want to cast on soon. I want to finish these so I can cast on my husband's Christmas socks, because I have a ball of the West Yorkshire Spinners Robin colorway, which is one of their older Christmas colorways and probably my favorite. So I want to make those for him. To be fair, my husband has more Christmas socks than me. He has so many. But still, it would be nice to... He sort of hinted that he would like socks for Christmas, and instead I'm making him a scarf. So he will get these socks soon. I'm hoping over Christmas when we travel I'm going to take lots of sock projects. But I'm also known for completely overestimating how much knitting time I'll have when we travel. So would like to get these finished so I can get cracking on his socks. Next up, the Dahlia blanket. Again, showed it to you. I think that's about 80% done. And the Mohairino medley by Stephen West, I have worked on it a little bit, but not massively, and that's also not a big rush. So with that one, I don't know how far I'm into that, maybe 30%, but that's not a huge rush. In terms of non-urgent projects, I have 3 on there. I have my Drops Air Cow, which I think I showed you last week. Super not urgent at all. I just cast it on because I felt like it, but there's no real need for it. And again, if I want to finish it, I can finish it really quickly. I have my Stranded Yarn Decathlon socks, which, I don't know. I started them, I loved them, then I lost them, then I picked them up, found them and picked them up again like months later, and I've just not been able to start the second sock. So one day I'll start the second sock, but Christmas socks have priority. And then last but not least, on there I have my Woolly Waffles sweater, which I also showed you I think 2 weeks ago. And this is the magic hat. This is the Woolly Waffles hat that I knit a while ago. Both of these patterns are of course by Stephen West. I wore that this morning actually. I really like my Woolly Waffles hat. I don't fold it over. I think it's really nice like this. It's a double hat, so you can wear it either way, and it's got the grey sort of stockinette on the inside and then the pink waffle pattern on the outside. And this was knit out of Pearl Soho good wool. Yeah, so the hat would be nice, but is it a sport weight hat? I'm knitting it out of Rowan Felted Tweed. So that's not a middle of the winter sweater, and again, that's why I'm not feeling a huge rush. Although I'm starting to feel the urge to maybe work on it again. I think it could be quite enjoyable, but I've ignored it for a couple of weeks, if not months, so it's definitely kind of hibernating for now. In terms of maybe projects, I wanted to talk to you about that really quickly. My son, I've been knitting him a lot of things lately because he's really been starting to get interested in, having me make stuff for him, which is really exciting. So I made him some socks, I made him rainbow mittens, I'm making him a rainbow sweater, and then now he's obsessed with knitted and crocheted blankets. So he has one in his bedroom, but we have a lot of blankets downstairs in the living room because, again, it gets quite cold and heating is expensive, and I just tend to be really cold. And he's started to like blankets. I think with him being sick recently, now he's always like carrying around our blankets. So I asked him, do you want me to make you a blanket? Because I'm sick of him stealing ours. Ours are quite big, and then he just like drags them all over the floor. And he said yes. And what kind of blanket would he like? Of course, a rainbow blanket. So seeing as there were sort of Black Friday sales everywhere yesterday, I had a look and I was looking for yarn that would work for a blanket, that wouldn't break the bank, that is washable because, he will get food and everything on it. Like, let's not kid ourselves. And I wanted a rainbow sort of yarn, ideally self-patterning, so I don't have to do all the sort of work of planning and like doing things. I just want to, crochet up a quick blanket for him. And I also wanted something that, it's gonna be a rainbow, and a rainbow's fine, but I want something that's not like neon, like super crazy colored in my living room, because undoubtedly it's going to be everywhere. So I found, I think, quite a good sort of self-patterning gradient rainbow yarn that's a little bit more muted. He likes it. I bought 3 150-gram cakes, which I hope will be enough to make a sort of big child-size blanket. So that's something, as soon as it arrives, maybe I should finish my dahlia first, but I feel like I'm going to be working on that with some kind of urgency and determination, because it would be really nice for him to have that blanket. Do I want to challenge myself to make it for him for Christmas? I don't know. What do you think? Do I really want that pressure on myself? I don't know. I haven't decided. Maybe I'll decide once I'm working on it. And anyways, he's gonna get lots of Christmas presents. It doesn't really matter if I finish it by Christmas or not, but it could be nice. And yeah, so that's the rainbow blanket. And then I mentioned I made him rainbow gloves, and of course, now we can't find them. He may have lost them in nursery. He may have them somewhere. We turned the entire house upside down this morning and we couldn't find his rainbow gloves. So maybe I'll make him some more. I don't know. I haven't decided. I have some red yarn, and red is his favorite color. So I really shouldn't be casting on more whips. I just listed 9 whips. But also I could just, bang out a pair of mittens for my son. We'll see. And then selfishly, I would like to make more ribbed hats for myself, because I love a good hat and you can never have enough hats, and I really enjoy them. But again, I'm massively overestimating the 1 week of travel we'll be doing over Christmas. But I'm starting to think maybe I can just take some yarns and knit hats and socks while we're at my parents' house over Christmas, because that'll be quite easy and portable, and I can have conversations while knitting hats. So yeah, that's basically what I'm thinking in terms of all of my knitting admin. Yeah, so let me know if you have any favorites, if you have any priorities. If you were me, what would you work on? I think the more I'm talking about it with you guys, the more I'm set on just focusing on the toddler sweater and get that done. And I think the Sunday cardigan is the same, because everything else is sort of smaller projects. And sorry, my phone ran out of storage. And I feel like this episode has become quite long. I'm finding it quite challenging to record these shorter snippets, although they're not even that short, because I tend to forget what I've told you and when I've told you and what I've shown you. So yeah, we'll play it by ear and see if this is the best format or not. But yeah, this has been quite in depth and I feel like I've been a bit all over the place, so sorry about that. I think that just comes with, more vlog style videos. You tend to mix your topics more than if I sit down and do like FOs and whips and personal life. Like it all sort of mixes together, which could not be a bad thing. Who knows? But yeah, I've definitely been all over the place. I'm still quite exhausted. If we've just had a lot going on, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. It's nothing horrible at all. We're all fine. We're all luckily healthy and safe and very, very privileged. But still, I think it reflects in my podcasting. But I am really, really proud and happy to just be able to get these podcasts out. So yeah. Oh yeah, and I realized as I'm patting my scarf, I did want to show you the progress that I've made on my husband's scarf. And look, it is growing. I think a bit below the stitch marker is where I showed it to you last. So I have actually put some proper work into this and it looks really, really skinny, but I'm going to block it out. This is superwash yarn. This is Drops Merino, I think Drops Big Merino, which is known for growing. So I think this is gonna grow really nicely and I do want it to be a little bit on like the skinny side. And this is so lovely. I mean, I want one for myself and like I showed it to my sister earlier and she's like, yeah, I like that. The texture is really, really lovely. Once again, it's the No Pearl Ribbed Scarf by Pearl Soho. I could see myself making something with this stitch pattern. I think they even have a blanket version of this and oh my god, imagine a leftover scrappy blanket with this stitch. That would be amazing. It's so squishy. It's very easy to knit. And yeah, so I have made some progress. I reckon I'm maybe a third done. This is how far I got with the first ball. So this is the second ball and I have 5 balls altogether. So I think with a good block, this will work quite nicely. Oh yeah, I love it. I do love it. I should keep it for myself. How squishy does it look? I love it. It looks very sort of, I don't want to say store-bought because store-bought is not the goal, but it looks really nice, doesn't it? Anyways, I was wrapping up this podcast, so I'm going to upload this and hopefully you'll have time to watch it over the weekend with some nice crafting time and your beverage of choice. So thank you so much for tuning in for my all over the place knitting and crochet shenanigans. I will talk to you guys most likely next weekend, and until then, happy knitting. Thank you for watching. Bye.